Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The 5 human warships that will change the galaxy forever. First contact and retribution, the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Concordat fell silent as High Minister Zaxivin approached the central podium. The massive chamber, designed to accommodate representatives from over 300 space-faring civilizations, held its collective breath. Thousands of beings, from the crystalline Vorex to the gaseous Mudians, turned their attention to the slender, blue-skinned diplomat. "The reports are confirmed," Zaxivin announced, his voice echoing through the cavernous space. "We have encountered yet another young species venturing beyond their home system. They call themselves humans from the planet Earth." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Another primitive species discovering faster-than-light travel was hardly unprecedented. The Concordat had protocols for such encounters: observation, assessment, and eventual integration if the species proved stable enough. "Initial analysis suggests they are bipedal, carbon-based organisms with technological development typical of Class 3 civilizations," continued Zaxivin. "However, they exhibit unusual adaptability and a concerning predilection for military applications of new technologies." Admiral Krelther of the Hegemony Defense Force rose from his seat, his forearms crossed in the traditional posture of skepticism. "Minister, we've seen dozens of young species with militaristic tendencies. Standard containment protocols have always proven sufficient." "Perhaps," Zaxivin conceded, "but Arxenup psychologists note something different in their historical patterns. They advance through conflict at an alarming rate. Where other species might take centuries to develop technologies, humans accomplish similar feats in decades when pressured." "Then pressure should be avoided," suggested Elder V. Torek of the Mentori Collective, their telepathic voice resonating directly in the minds of all present. "We should approach with caution and—" The hall's massive doors burst open. A hegemony commander rushed in, breaking every protocol of the sacred chamber. "Forgive the intrusion," he gasped, "but we've detected unauthorized human vessels crossing the Perseus boundary." Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth exploration vessel Pioneer knew they were taking a risk by pushing beyond the boundary markers they'd discovered. But the strange artifacts, clearly artificial and advanced far beyond human technology, had been impossible to resist. "Status report," she demanded, scanning the holographic displays surrounding her command chair. "All systems nominal, Captain," replied her first officer, Commander David Chen. "We're maintaining passive scans only as ordered. No sign of whoever placed these boundary markers." Elena nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the view screen showing the endless expanse of stars beyond. 20 years of service in the United Earth Space Force hadn't diminished her wonder of the cosmos, nor her determination to push humanity further into its depths. "Captain," her communications officer interrupted, voice tight with controlled alarm, "we're detecting multiple vessels approaching at high velocity. Configuration unknown. They're huge, ma'am." Before Elena could respond, the Pioneer systems flickered and died around them. Emergency lights bathed the bridge in blood-red illumination. "Some kind of dampening field," muttered Chief Engineer Aucaffer. "They've killed our power without firing a shot." The view screen crackled to life, revealing a being unlike any human eyes had seen before. 8 limbs, an exoskeleton gleaming with embedded technology, and multiple eyes arranged in patterns across what might be called a face. "Unauthorized species," the being spoke, the words somehow translated into perfect English. "You have violated Concordat space. Your technological development level does not permit interstellar exploration beyond your local cluster. Return to your home system immediately or face sanction." Elena stepped forward, chin raised. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of Earth. We come in peace, seeking diplomatic contact. We weren't aware of any territorial claims in this region." The alien's appendages shifted in what might have been dismissal. "Your awareness is irrelevant. The boundaries were clearly marked with universal warning symbology. Return immediately. This is your only warning." The screen went dark. Elena turned to her crew, determination hardening her features. Restore power. We're withdrawing for now, but we're not going quietly into the night. 6 months later, humanity's tentative diplomatic efforts had established minimal contact with what they now understood to be an ancient confederation of spacefaring civilizations. The terms offered were clear. Humans would be restricted to their solar system and a small bubble of nearby stars for the next 300 years, until they were deemed mature enough for full galactic citizenship. Admiral William Harper slammed his fist on the conference table in lunar command. They're containing us like children, 300 years of quarantine while they decide if we're worthy. President Amara Chen remained calm, though the strain showed in the lines around her eyes. Admiral, we've seen their capabilities. They're centuries, perhaps millennia beyond us technologically. We must be pragmatic. Pragmatism doesn't mean submission, Harper growled. We've been accelerating our defensive development since first contact. Project Prometheus is already yielding results that our scientists say should be impossible. The holographic display in the center of the table activated, showing 5 ship designs unlike anything in Earth's current fleet. The Concordat believes we're complying with their restrictions, Harper continued. Meanwhile, we've been building the means to ensure humanity will never be at anyone's mercy again. President Chen studied the designs with a mixture of awe and concern. These are weapons of war, Admiral. They're guarantors of our freedom, Harper countered. And insurance against what our intelligence suggests is a divided opinion among the Concordat species regarding humanity's potential threat. Before the debate could continue, an emergency signal interrupted the meeting. The holographic display shifted to show a real-time feed from the colony on Proxima Centauri, humanity's first extraplanetary settlement. The images were catastrophic. Massive ships of unknown design were in orbit raining destruction on the fledgling colony. Buildings collapsed, atmosphere processors exploded, and the screams of colonists cut through the static of the transmission. This is Governor Mackenzie of New Eden Colony. We are under attack by alien forces. They claim we violated some treaty we never signed. Thousands are dead already. Please send. The transmission ended in static. The room fell silent. Then President Chen turned to Admiral Harper, her expression transformed. How soon can your Prometheus ships be ready? The prototypes are operational, Harper replied grimly, but untested in combat. They're about to get their test, the President said, her voice cold with resolve. The Concordat just declared war on humanity without realizing it. 3 years later, word spread through the galactic community of strange encounters in the outer systems. Ships disappeared, entire patrol fleets went silent, and survivors brought back tales of human vessels that defied understanding. In the central chamber of the Hegemony War Council, Admiral Krelther reviewed the fragmentary intelligence with growing concern. The first vessel is designated Nemesis, he explained to the assembled war leaders, a ship that should not exist by any reasonable understanding of physics. The holographic display showed a sleek black vessel that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No visible engines, weapons systems, or even external sensors could be detected. It appears capable of manipulating gravitational fields as weapons, Krelther continued. Our squadron in the Vega sector was compressed into singularity points, one by one. No countermeasures were effective. He advanced to the next image, a massive ship seemingly constructed of interlocking hexagonal segments that constantly rearranged themselves. The Hydra! It adapts to whatever we throw at it. Energy weapons are absorbed, projectiles are dodged, and it seems to repair itself almost instantly. Worse, it appears to incorporate captured technology into its own structure. The assembled war leaders shifted uncomfortably as Krelther displayed the third vessel. The Phantom, perhaps the most disturbing. It phases in and out of normal spacetime. Our weapons pass through it as if firing at shadows. Meanwhile, it can solidify portions of its structure to deliver devastating kinetic strikes. The fourth image showed not one ship but thousands of small, insect-like craft moving in perfect coordination. The Swarm! Each unit is minimally armed, but they coordinate with an efficiency that suggests a hive mind. They've been known to surround capital ships and simply disassemble them, component by component. Finally, the largest vessel yet appeared, a behemoth that dwarfed even the hegemony's mighty dreadnoughts. The Judgment. It creates localized distortions in the fundamental forces of physics. In its presence, our shields fail, weapons malfunction, and even our drive systems become unpredictable. It doesn't destroy ships so much as it makes it impossible for them to function. Elder Vitoric's telepathic voice cut through the grim silence. How has a species so young created such weapons? Krelther's forearms spread in a gesture of helplessness. Our analysts believe the attack on their colony triggered a massive allocation of resources toward military technology. Their entire civilization pivoted to defense overnight. And now, prompted another council member. Now they're methodically dismantling every hegemony force that participated in the Proxima Centauri attack, Krelther admitted, without ever approaching our core worlds or civilian targets. A message, Vitoric observed. They're showing restraint while demonstrating capability. A disturbing combination, Krelther agreed. The Concordat believed humans were contained. Instead, we've created the most dangerous species in the galaxy and given them reason to fear us. The Battle of Tantor Prime marked the first time all 5 human warships operated together in concert. The hegemony had committed its entire Third Fleet, over 200 vessels, to hold the strategic system. They never stood a chance. The Nemesis arrived first, its gravity weapons creating chaos in the carefully arranged hegemony formation. Capital ships were crushed into themselves or flung into their allies as artificial gravity wells formed and collapsed with surgical precision. Then came the Phantom, phasing through the defensive screen to disable command ships with targeted strikes that bypassed shields entirely. As the hegemony commanders struggled to reorganize, the swarm descended, thousands of smaller craft overwhelming point defenses and methodically disabling weapon systems. When the Hydra arrived, it absorbed every counterattack, learning and adapting with each exchange of fire. What damaged it once never worked again, and soon it was returning fire using the hegemony's own weapon signatures. Finally, the Judgment entered the fray. In its wake, the laws of physics themselves seemed to unravel. Hegemony ships found their energy weapons dissipating harmlessly, their projectiles changing trajectory in impossible ways, their shields flickering and failing as fundamental forces became unreliable. From his flagship, Admiral Krelther watched the systematic dismantling of the most powerful fleet ever assembled by the hegemony. And for the first time in his long military career, he gave the order to retreat. As the surviving ships fled the Tantor system, a message was broadcast on all hegemony frequencies. This is Admiral William Harper of the United Earth Defense Force. You attacked our colony without provocation or declaration of war. Today, you've witnessed the consequences of that decision. We have the capability to extend this destruction to your core worlds, but choose not to. Unlike you, we don't target civilians. Withdraw all forces from human-claimed systems immediately. Future aggression will be met with appropriate response. The message ended without further threat or demand. It didn't need any. The demonstration had been clear enough. The emergency session of the Galactic Concordat stretched into its 5th cycle, exhaustion evident among even the longest-lived species. Representatives from 100 worlds argued without resolution, their voices echoing through the vast chamber designed for orderly discourse, not panic debate. The humans must be contained, insisted Ambassador Trexful of the hegemony, his exoskeleton clicking with agitation. Their technological advancement is unnatural. Their warships violate fundamental principles of physics that have constrained warfare for millennia. Containment was attempted, countered Elder Vitoric of the Mentori Collective. It resulted in the current crisis. The humans responded to aggression with innovation. Perhaps a different approach is warranted. High Minister Zaxavan raised his hands for silence, his usual composure strained. The fact remains that human expansion threatens the established order. Their 5 advanced warships have decimated our combined military forces in 14 engagements. They show no signs of slowing their technological development. From the back of the chamber, a voice rarely heard in Concordat debates rose. Ambassador Ixel of the reclusive Thraxi Confederation, a species known for their scientific brilliance and political neutrality. Perhaps, Ixel suggested, multifaceted eyes reflecting the chamber's light, we should consider what the humans have not done, rather than what they have. The chamber quieted, attention turning to the insecto diplomat. Despite possessing the capability to destroy our core worlds, they have targeted only military assets. Despite their technological advantage, they have not demanded territorial concessions beyond the systems already claimed before hostilities began. They have, in fact, shown remarkable restraint for a species so grievously wronged. Ambassador Trexful chittered in derision. You suggest we reward their aggression. I suggest, Ixel replied calmly, that we recognize our own aggression first. Aboard the Nemesis, Admiral Harper studied the unexpected communication with suspicion. After 3 years of conflict, the Concordat was suddenly requesting direct diplomatic talks, not through intermediaries or at a distance, but face-to-face with human representatives. It's almost certainly a trap, General Karina Vyulov said, her scarred face grim in a holographic projection from Lunar Command. They failed to defeat us militarily, so now they'll try deception. Harper wasn't so certain. Our intelligence suggests genuine divisions among the Concordat species. Some appear to favor accommodation rather than continued conflict. President Chen, now serving her second term after being re-elected on a platform of unwavering defense of human interests, joined the discussion. We've demonstrated our military capability. Perhaps it's time to demonstrate our diplomatic capacity as well. With respect, Madam President, Vyulov objected, these are the same beings who slaughtered thousands of colonists without provocation. Not all of them, Harper noted. The Proxima attack was conducted by hegemony forces, allegedly acting without full Concordat authorization. Some species, like the Thraxi, have actively avoided engaging our forces. President Chen considered this. Admiral, prepare the judgment for a diplomatic mission. Its defensive capabilities make it the safest venue for such talks, but keep the other ships at ready status. If this is a trap, I want the full weight of human ingenuity ready to respond. The meeting took place in neutral space, a star system devoid of habitable planets but rich in astronomical phenomena that would normally interest scientists rather than military strategists or diplomats. The judgment hung in space, its massive form distorting the starlight around it as localized physics fluctuated in its proximity. Before it, a delegation of 7 ships representing the major powers of the Concordat maintained a respectful distance. In the judgment's conference chamber, Admiral Harper stood with Ambassador Elena Vasquez, the same Elena who had commanded humanity's first fateful encounter with the Concordat years earlier. Her exploration vessel had been destroyed, but she had survived to become a key figure in human-alien relations. The alien representatives entered cautiously. Some wore environmental suits to accommodate their biological needs. Others moved in levitation fields or were carried by robotic assistants. Together, they represented civilizations spanning thousands of years of spacefaring history. High Minister Zaxavan spoke first. We appreciate your willingness to meet, representatives of Earth. Recent events have prompted a reassessment of the Concordat's approach to your species. Recent events? Elena repeated, her voice controlled despite the memories of Proxima that still haunted her. You mean your repeated military defeats? Ixel of the Thraxi stepped forward, multifaceted eyes glittering. For some, yes. For others, it is the recognition that the Concordat's initial judgment of humanity was hasty and flawed. Admiral Harper gestured to the viewports showing the expanse of space around them. We didn't want this conflict. Earth sought peaceful contact. You responded with restrictions, then with violence when we didn't accept your judgment of our worthiness. A grave error, admitted Zaxavan. one that some among us advocated, others accepted through complacency, and still others opposed too quietly. The Concordat has existed for 12,000 of your years, Admiral. Complacency is perhaps our greatest failing. What do you propose now? Elena asked directly. Ixel presented a data crystal. A new relationship, not containment but partnership, not subordination but equality. The Concordat must evolve as all living things must or face extinction. Harper accepted the crystal but didn't immediately review its contents. And the factions that still consider humanity a threat. Ambassador Trexful of the Hegemony stepped forward, his movement stiff with what humans had learned to recognize as reluctance. We acknowledge the futility of continued conflict. The 5 human warships have demonstrated capabilities beyond our countermeasures. They have names, Harper said quietly. Nemesis, Hydra, Phantom, Swarm, Judgment. Not merely weapons, but embodiments of human determination never to be victimized again. Yes, Zaxavan nodded. We understand this better now. Your species develops through challenge in ways ours do not. What we intended as containment, you perceived as an extinction-level threat and responded accordingly. Elena exchanged a glance with Harper before addressing the aliens. Humans don't seek dominance. We seek security and the freedom to develop on our own terms. Your Concordat tried to dictate our future without our consent. That was your fundamental error. And one we will not repeat, promised Ixel. The proposal before you offers humanity full membership in a reformed Concordat, one where no single species or bloc can impose its will on emerging civilizations without representation and consent. Harper studied the alien carefully. A significant constitutional change to your political structure. One long overdue, Ixel admitted. Your species has catalyzed a reform movement that has been building for centuries. The Thraxi and others have observed with concern as the Concordat became increasingly hierarchical and resistant to new perspectives. The negotiations lasted weeks, with representatives from Earth and the Concordat species hammering out details of a new interstellar compact. Throughout, the 5 human warships maintained their vigilant presence, a constant reminder of what necessity had driven humanity to create. In the end, the Treaty of Alpha Centauri established humanity as a full member of the reorganized Galactic Alliance. The quarantine of Earth was officially lifted, reparations were pledged for the Proxima Centauri attack, and technology exchange programs were initiated, carefully structured to ensure no species could again achieve overwhelming military superiority. Admiral Harper stood on the observation deck of the Nemesis, watching as the diplomatic vessels departed for their respective home worlds. Elena joined him, her ambassador's uniform a stark contrast to his military attire. "Do you think it will last?" she asked quietly. Harper considered the question. "The peace, perhaps; the lesson, definitely. We've changed the equation permanently." "They feared us in the end," Elena noted, not entirely comfortable with the thought. "No," Harper corrected her. "They respected us. Fear would have driven them to desperate measures. Respect drove them to negotiation. There's a crucial difference." Elena turned to look at the massive view screen displaying all 5 of humanity's revolutionary warships, gathered together perhaps for the last time as purely military vessels. "What happens to them now? The ships that saved us?" Harper smiled slightly. "They evolve, just as we do. The Nemesis's gravity manipulation technology is already being adapted for mining operations in the gas giants. The Hydra's adaptive systems will revolutionize medical technology. The Phantom's phase technology opens up entirely new approaches to exploration." "And the Judgment?" Elena asked, glancing around at the ship that had hosted the historic peace negotiations. "Perhaps the most transformative of all," Harper replied. "The ability to locally modify physical constants has applications in everything from energy production to terraforming. What was created for war will now power a new age of exploration and development." Elena nodded, satisfaction replacing her earlier concern. So humanity enters the galactic stage not as conquerors but innovators. "As we always intended," Harper agreed. They forced us to demonstrate our capacity for war. Now we can show them our true passion for creation. As if to emphasize his point, the Judgment's engines flared to life, not with the ominous pulse that had terrified enemy fleets, but with a steady, controlled brilliance that spoke of journeys yet to come and discoveries waiting beyond the next star. The galaxy would never again underestimate humanity, but neither would it regret the day humans took their place among the stars.